Good evening, everybody, once again. Welcome to our series of dialogues relating to our World Intellectual Property Day. And intellectual property refers to creations of the mind, inventions, literary, artistic works, and symbols, names, images, and designs that are used in commerce. And I'm so pleased, once again, we've got Dr. Laura Thompson from Lighthouse Broadcasting. And our special guest for this session is Winston Hislop, CEO of Aqua Blu Games. And we're going to hear a lot about Soldier Kingdom Rise and the rebirth of Nani, a Maroon Warrior. So good evening, both.
Good evening, sir. Good evening. Good evening.
Great to see you all. I just would like to start with just talking about a young man called Iman Sampson, who's done very well in his creative work. He managed to be part of a project for 50 young people, and there were 200 applications. And Iman managed to get into that group with his excellent work. And Iman Sampson describes himself as an emerging multidisciplinary producer. He's based in London. And he says he's determined to create diverse and multicultural content for generations and communities through short films, documentaries, and digital platforms. And for him, it was a dream come true because he started working on a website called Story Trails. So you can just go to that website, Story Trails, and he's been interested in telling factual stories, sharing tales from underrepresented groups, whilst capturing the unseen aspects of their lives. And again, for him, it's about his ambition to be able to tell the stories of those topics that matter to communities. Also to learn from industry experts and their partners. And what he describes as through a magical experience, we can build our sense of belonging to the places we live and help us all to shape a more positive future. And so I think that's great sentiments, and you can hear the values of that young man. And very well done, Iman. And we look forward to seeing some of your short films in the future. Thank you.
I have a question. Is it storytrails.co.uk or is it .com, or what's the, do you know the extension?
If you try either and just see what happens.
All right. Fantastic. Congratulations.
Congratulations, Iman.
Thank you very much. Congratulations, Winston Hislop. Tell us the story behind that video.
Oh gosh.
That was a dramatic end for you, Winston. You just kind of fell out after the.
Funny enough, the thing is, I don't know, Rudy. I've never seen that one before. Actually, it's it's weird. Robbie must have been doing different things. Anyway, right. Good evening, everyone who is listening at the moment and who will be listening later on. The story behind A Soldier Kingdom Rise. Now, this is something that started through a record. Would you believe it? I'm a recording artist, and you know, I've had my share of success in the music business. And I decided to do a final album, which was 4 years ago. When I did the album, I did a track on the album called Soldier. Now, my co-producer, he's an animator. That's what he does. So he suggested it to me. Oh, Saint, can I do a video of this? I wasn't too keen at first off because, you know, I'm a bit old school. You know, I do videos. I don't do animation videos. Anyway, I said, yeah, you know, invention. Let's see how it works. And he did the video, and a part of the video is in what you just shown a minute ago, Rudy. And he uses me as the avatar, the leading actor in the video. But what he did, he put two girls with me, one white, one black. And when the video was finished, I started to send it to people to have a look at it, and everyone coming back to me with the same thing. Oh, Saint, that looks like a video game. That looks like a video game. So then the penny dropped for me. And I said, I want to renovate myself in doing something completely different from music. I've been doing music all my life. I want to do something different. And the game thing come along. But I wanted a story. I wanted, you know, I didn't just want, you know, come up with an idea and, oh, let's make a game. I know everything starts from a good story. And I begin to write. Well, not straight away, you know, because I wasn't ever a writer. And this is, this is the amazing thing. I'd never written a book before. The most I've ever written is a song. And COVID came in, and I said, you know, I need to write this story myself. And I've written the story, but I've written it in a screenplay style, not in a book form. And but within the SKR story, within the Soldier Kingdom Rise story, I embodied the story with some reality. Now, Nanny of the Maroons was my reality within that story. And I think then the ancestors just came to me during all that time and said to me, you know, you need to write Nanny's story. And it just struck me, and I started to write the story. But what I needed to do, I needed to write her story from my perspective, because she's such an iconic woman. She is such a powerful woman. She's one of my national hero. You know, she's on my $500 bill. So I needed to create something, because the British never leave us with anything on this woman, just synopsis of her. And I always know that if you're gonna get the interest of someone in some, you got to give them a story. You got to give them something to read about. And that effect now happening because I've got people, you know, white, black people coming up to me and said, wow, I didn't know nothing about Nanny until you write about her. So I'm achieving my goal in spreading her name across the world. And when I finished wrote the book, it was, you know, I was going through, you know, the hustling of trying to get the investment to start the game, because the game was my key. The game is important, very important. And then the book came out and started to do well. And, you know, having people giving me, you know, good reviews on it. And that was kind of a shocking thing for me as well, because I've never written a book before. And you know, everyone is coming to tell me how brilliant this book is. And then I knew that I need to transform Soldier Kingdom Rise now into a book, into a novel, into something special. And I'm glad to say I completed that book Sunday, gone.
Excellent.
So I've just done 2 books in less than a year.
Yeah.
But Soldier Kingdom Rise is something that I wanted to create a story that has never been told before.
So before we go to Soldier,
right?
Let's get Laura's perspective on the rebirth first of all.
Okay.
In terms of what she's seen. So Laura, over to you.
Well, first of all, I want to applaud you because of your intention to bring back some history, some cultural history, and your perspective of that. That is extremely important going forward, even into the well, from a game developer as well, all the way to the metaverse and Web3 space. In a lot of cases, building communities, which is, you know, we are on this platform, and I think the main theme is this not only building communities, but creating something that keeps people engaged, and beyond that with their culture. A lot, regardless of who you are, whether you're in Web 1, 2, or 3, wherever, people want to see themselves, see something about themselves.
That's right.
Somewhere. As far as people from Caribbean descent, we have traveled all over the world.
Yeah.
You could find Jamaicans everywhere.
Everywhere.
I've been around the world.
Everywhere.
Every single where. Yeah.
Everywhere.
Everywhere.
And so that being said, to be able to create something that even unites culture that have I don't want to say been scattered, because some of us have left because we've chosen to leave, but this thing has potential to pull communities together based off of a culture, whether you believe in it or whether you don't. You can't negate that it exists.
Yes.
And so that's for the people that are a part of the culture. Never mind the people that didn't know anything about
it. Yeah.
So then all of a sudden it's like, wait a minute. Yeah. So you got a dual situation happening. You have a culture that is scattered that will see these soldiers rising. Per se.
That's
and
right.
they know the story because they're about it. Whether they know the story, they know about the Maroons. They know okay, there's something connected to us.
Yes.
Right.
And the lived
then
experience.
You have the educational piece that is already there. So that in and of itself is ingenious. The other part that I want to say is ingenious before I let it go is the fact that you went ahead and you wrote a book about it. Ingenious. That's usually not done. That's not done, but that needs to be the approach when we are talking about real intellectual property.
Thank you. Yes, definitely.
It needs to be the approach. If you're trying to have something that's a lasting effect, there needs to be some tangible content that has been
Yes.
registered somewhere
Yes.
beyond just the nice, pretty little images that you
That's right.
flash onto the internet and everybody.
Yeah.
No,
So
no. This has been in the making. So
Yeah.
that's what I'll say on this segment.
Exactly.
Thank you for doing that, and congratulations so far.
Yeah.
Thank you,
That's
Dr. Laura.
great. Because
Thank
what
you.
we're saying in the 22nd century, somebody will pick up this book. Oh, what's this
Yes.
old book? This old geezer called
Yeah.
Winston Hislop from how many
What-
generations ago?
what-
And he wrote about,
I mean,
well,
you have talk about rebirth. You have revitalized yourself. Okay, I don't care when you got out of the music industry, you're back in it again
I know. Thank
with
you.
your
Thank
own
you.
product. Okay,
You know-
I'm sorry. Just
And you know the thing about it is that Rebirth, a Maroon Warrior, which is the nanny story, that's about 450 years
yes.
from Soldier Kingdom
Yeah,
Rise.
before Soldier.
Right,
Yeah,
but it's
exactly.
connected. It's
Exactly.
connected. It's a
Again,
connected story.
That cultural communication
yeah.
It's
goes across generations. So
Goes
there's
across.
no boundaries.
There's no boundaries.
There's no
It
boundaries.
goes across generation.
Yeah,
I-
Nanny's not just some random
Exactly.
warrior that you're
No.
having to recreate. You're having to create, and nobody. She has no context. No, she has historical context.
Yeah.
exactly.
And it is connected to
Yes.
a culture.
A culture.
And it's spiritual.
Yeah.
Because
Yeah.
that's why it can go from generation
To generation. Oh yeah, definitely. And you know, the way it's never been brought out. I mean,
Mhm.
Dr. Laura, if you read the book, you will say the same thing that everyone says that read the book. I'm watching a film. I'm watching a movie here, you know, and because I'm a storyteller. I'm not an academic. I'm a storyteller, and I'm very good at that because I've been doing it from a very, very young age, telling stories. You know, I'm a movie buff. I'm crazy about movies. I love movies. So I've been watching movies from I'm 7 years old and never stopped. So I've watched thousands of films. So creating Soldier Kingdom Rise, that helps me because I could stay totally original with this story. Something that has never been done before. You know, nobody has ever written Jamaica 2093. You understand what I'm saying? It's just, and the way I had to do it is to keep Jamaica, but then making Jamaica a first world country in that time.
Well, it's and worlds verses. You mean like a verse? You can create whatever world you want in a metaverse
Exactly.
environment, and you can make whatever culture be whatever it needs to be in a metaverse environment. So it's just a fit.
Yeah.
Oh.
And this is where the vision comes in.
Mhm.
Yes.
That's
yes.
the vision, isn't it?
Yes, it definitely
Project
is the vision.
for the future and say, right,
Oh,
this is what we
yeah.
will be. This is what Marcus Garvey said, isn't he?
Yes. I mean, when Soldier Kingdom Rise, it was created with a multicultural as well. Narrative. I wanted to give it that, you know, Princess Amali. She's from, you know, South Africa, what do I call it? Each soldiers are coming from a bloodlines of warriors. Princess Amali is coming from Shaka Zulu bloodline. Akan is coming from Nani bloodline. And Isini is coming from Bodicea bloodline. So all three warriors are coming from warrior bloodlines. Now, Katumi, who is the one that brought the Isarix to this planet, he's coming from a planet called Eden. And Eden is got, you know, it's almost, I've tried to tell you in the story that we are the first people. Because Eden is so advanced. Eden is without time, you know. The story is so explosive.
No, it's powerful.
It's powerful. It's powerful because it's not, when you read it or when you see the story, it takes you different places. It's not just on one thing or one subject. It takes you different places. And you will be surprised because it starts with Akan being in the army. And then it moves to Akan being a gangster. Now, the story will take you on the trail of how that becomes. But then he's now fighting against a system which is very corrupted. On the other hand, the gangsters wants to kill him. Now, what he has to do is to try and unite the gangsters because they got one common enemy, which is Magna, coming for the Isorex. And he's coming from a planet called Luminous Prime. And he is terrifying. Now, just imagine, this Isorex was landed in the Cockpit Mountain of Jamaica, founded by a maroon warrior that gives her the power to fight the English. But the way I have done it within the books, you don't know it's the Isorex in the Rebirth book. But when you read Soldier Kingdom Rise, then you say, oh, this is how the story is. Oh, its story never ends. It just continues. It's such a blasting story. It's fantastic. It's hard. you have to see it and read it to really.
What you're describing, what I would say in interpretation, there's a cultural interconnection.
Oh yeah.
Between the books.
Oh yeah.
Which that definitely is very rare.
Oh yeah, yeah. I keep community. That culture, you know, is you know, you've got Ma who run HSC, ISL Command, which is the command post that controls the soldiers. And she's Chinese, but she was born in Jamaica.
Of course.
Now she's got a daughter, which I introduced later on in the book, and her name is Anchi, but she was born in Shanghai because Ma was sent to Shanghai to go to university, met someone there, get married, and you know. But oh gosh, the story is it's a never-ending story. But as you know, Rudy, and you know, to explain to Dr. Thompson is the game is the key for this story. I mean, it could be even the film, but the game for me is the thing that is going to take this story, SKR story, this universe that we've created with a fantastic team of people. You know, and these people, they're just brilliant. You know, at some point they'll be introduced. But we put this thing together so good. But we also know that we're going to have a lot of roadblocks to get it where it's supposed to go. We know that. We accept that, but we are fighters. We know how to fight. We know how to stay with it and endure, and you know, because we know it's a long process. It's not a short process. And making a game, it takes a lot of money. So we are working with different people and, you know, trying to get to a level where we can say, okay, this is Soldier Kingdom Rise, even a demo. This is Soldier Kingdom Rise. And I know for certain, because, you know, I've had my success. Rudy, you know, I've had many, many success over the years. I keep going, you know, for the last, you know, 35 to 40 years. I keep going, powerfully going, you know, keep, you know, making records. You know, one of my last record was #1 in the Philippines for 3 months, you know, top 40 in the UK. So I've always keep renovating myself and having some form of success with it.
Absolutely.
But I think this is the top of the pyramid for me.
Absolutely.
This is,
I'd
you know.
like Laura to give her perspective on the gaming and the gaming world and the importance again.
Yeah.
Well, first of all, again, I do want to applaud you, because I want to say that maybe the music career was more about the artist, and the artist struggles and the challenges and the story from the perspective of the artist. But this project is about a culture.
Of course.
And so I don't know where you are in terms of tokens or token economy, but the idea that this game has both the educational component as well as the unification of a culture is one where you should, if you haven't already, you should consider tokens. You know, when I see amusement park, I already see an exchange. Let's say, and so I'm going to go on an innovative trip for a second. Let's say the amusement park is really designed to help bring energy to countries that don't have power. So every time people go on the rides are generating energy. Then you're possibly talking about this amusement park not only being a fun ride, but it can become a utility.
Yeah.
You know, your utility bills, you know. So you have a really big opportunity from the standpoint of, and again, you probably already did this. You do not have to say on this public platform where you are with the tokenization, but I'm just throwing out some things. So let's say that your main warriors are something that you decide you want to tokenize as people are, and thanks for showing this again. As people ride this particular ride, you know, I mean, it's so amazing because you have the concept of these soldiers, and I guess they are the kingdom is actually arising as and it could be something to the and throwing this out too, it could be something to the degree of where every time somebody rides this, you know, about 6 more soldiers are created. I mean, that's just like a literal interpretation of how you can actually build soldiers, build this rising in a literal sense, and then actually take the tokenomics associated with that and still use it as a utility. I mean, you have pyramids around. You could easily have power plants around. Whatever that story needs to be, it can be incorporated in something like this. And again, you don't need to say where you are in terms of tokens or anything like that. But to go from, they're rising for a reason, right?
Yes.
You know, Nani is coming back into the picture for a reason.
Yes.
And I think from an inspirational standpoint, again, wherever people are with this particular story, whether they're into it or they're not, there is something to be said about about rising. I think every culture has had a rising from the ashes type of story. And the fact that this is actually tied to a historical context, you know, again, I just applaud you for what you're intending to do. You've aligned it with a book. The book could be a coloring book, it could be a workbook, it could be education, it could be anything. And tokens all in and all around this to build your token economy up. and even NFTs from that standpoint, so that, you know, once you've and you probably have already thought about this, so, you know, no worries, but I'm just mentioning this for the masses that might be listening and
Yeah.
watching.
Oh yeah.
Um, when we are in this space and we have opportunity to present a historical context,
Yeah.
um, it can benefit from the standpoint of education to help people build
Yeah.
this economy, build this knowledge base.
Yeah.
Um, and whereas you're thinking of it as a game, somebody would look at you and be like, "Oh, he's not playing. It's not a game. This is serious." because you have receipts. You have receipts on this. In other words,
Yeah.
you've done the legwork. This is not like, you're not a novice. You're not brand new
Yeah.
to this
Yeah.
discussion, and so
Uh,
it's important.
yes.
It's
Yeah.
important. Culture is important. Where you
Yes.
come from is important.
Yes. Definitely.
And that's really what the main message is, whether people
Mm.
subscribe to it or not.
Yeah.
Where you
Yeah.
come from is important. And people that have taken the time
Yeah.
today to establish something that is easily transferable to the now future, which is the Web3 environment. It's about tokenization, it's about blockchain, it's about building this economy so
Yeah.
that it can fuel something else and be a real utility and not just a
Yeah.
game. That's the educational piece that the kids walk away with.
Yeah,
Yes.
and
You're right.
of course, all cultures begin from humble
Yeah.
origins,
Yeah.
Yeah.
and then it's people who then visualize something much greater than themselves,
Themselves.
spiritually,
Mm-hmm.
the environment, the physical environment where they find themselves. However many generations it takes, that vision never changes.
Mm-hmm.
So what you're established here, you're what we would call um, evolution becomes visible, as we call it.
Yeah.
And that's what you're translating and we're communicating. That's part of cultural communication.
That's right. That's right. That's right.
Excellent work.
I I wanted to do something special for my people. I mean, something that everyone would accept, but it's for my people. This is us. We created this. And through my life, I've entertained all different kind of people, all manner of race of people. I've been around the world doing it. So I know a lot of culture, but Jamaica have a culture, such a rich culture, that the island is so small, but then it's so big. It makes so much noise around the world, but it doesn't have anything like this. And this is what I want to give. I'm also talking about having an academy, a technology academy, where kids can come and learn about technology. And got the name for it already. So, but starting with the book was the key for me, and the two books, as Laura mentioned earlier on, you can't get a better intellectual property in signature than a book, because nobody can take your story then. When this book goes into the British Library, it's sealed. You know what I'm saying? Someone want the story, they have to go to the British Library first. So I'm feeling proud of what I've done in the last 3 years. But I know that I've got a lot of work to do. I really do know. And having the right people around me to make this work, that's the key. Having the right team of people, that's the key for me. I'm a team player, and I know this can be one of the biggest franchise to go. If I don't believe that, then please, might as well I go to Jamaica and just go and sit on the beach and live the rest of my life out. But I do believe that this can take the world.
Yeah.
And I do believe they need something like this right now, in terms of its originality and where it can go. I see this going on for the next 30 years.
Yeah, we feel the vision.
Yes.
So just before we close, I'm going to ask Laura to wrap up for us with her perspective.
Well, again, I definitely applaud you for your efforts. There's so many things that that can happen, and there's so many things that you've already done that's already happening. If I were you, I wouldn't be surprised if people decided to come to you for their own story development, their own gaming development. I mean, you said you have a team. I wouldn't be surprised if there were people that would not be interested in coming to you and having something like that happen. So I guess they're just going to have to come back to this broadcast, and hopes to see you again and to see your development. I mean, this is definitely a way to have that downward accountability, where it's not like you're waiting on people to try it out, but you're informing them, and that information also builds communities and has people be genuinely interested in the development. It's also very encouraging. A lot of people during the pandemic, again, pandemic just pushed people back. Yeah. And so to see what folks are coming up with during the pandemic, it's just amazing. Yeah. And probably a long time coming, there are plenty of other stories that I think can stem out of something like this. Yeah. Just consider, I mean, you Rudy said this was spiritual, and so we have to now maybe build on what all this means, how it comes into play. And again, there's something so rich and foundational about the story. I wouldn't be surprised. Hopefully you kept track of how you did everything that you did, because that in and of itself is like consulting 101. Because
the making of Nanny, the making of Rebirth, the making of
Rebirth, the book, the outline of how did you develop the book, was it just because of it wasn't just because of the last album. No. And it really wasn't just because the co-producer asked you if they could do a video. Obviously there's something else going on that you get to retain and put out there for the future. Again, a lot of different, I see a lot of different groups. I mean, for all of the Asian based groups that are in Jamaica, they all have an introduction somewhere of how the Indians, the true Indians that are in Jamaica, they have a story. And so there's even a story about tea. Why are you drinking tea in hot Jamaica? Well, because that has a story as to how it got in there. Do you understand what I'm saying? So what about jerk? How did jerk come into the what are the ingredients of jerk, and why are we doing this now? Why is the food so hot and spicy? I mean, there's all of it adds to the diaspora of who we are as a people from Jamaica, and it should be documented. One other thing that I will mention, maybe about 2 years ago during the pandemic, I became interested in the records from the ships, as people came over on the ships, and the names and so it had me search the databases in Jamaica to find out the different slave owners, how they chose to document who came over and from where.
Right.
And more importantly, how did the naming convention of the plots of land align with the name
Yeah.
of the actual slave
Slave.
owner?
Yeah.
Cool.
Yeah.
Cool.
Yeah.
And it enables people and their families to be traced
Yeah.
much, but you call it third world if you want to.
Yeah.
But
Yeah.
that was the beginning of relational databases, sir.
Of course it was. Of course it was.
Genealogy.
Yeah.
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 Right. And
Yeah.
so it's interesting to choose any story. Choose any story. Okay, you may not be into the roots, fine. Choose any story, but you'll tie it back
Yeah.
to the origins of that particular culture.
That's
Yeah.
And
right.
then
The
build
land of
something.
origin.
Yeah.
Yeah.
The land
Yeah.
of
Build
origin.
something.
Yeah. Yeah. Yeah.
And
I love that.
that's where we are. We're back in the building phase, right? This
Yeah,
second.
absolutely.
Definitely.
You know, we
Definitely.
may have exhausted Web 2.0
Yeah.
from the standpoint of corruption and the other
we
things
can
that are going on with it.
we can use the Ghanaian word Sankofa.
Yeah. So, you know, again, we may have exhausted one of the platforms and now we're forging our way into something else. And so
Yeah. Yeah. Well, you know, and as the program now is about intellectual property, you know, this is something that I decided that I have to do in terms of how I set Aqua Blu games. And you know, it's the intellectual property of my publishing, of my animation, of the game, of the book, of the theme park, of the characters that I'm creating. So it's so much that, you know, comics, there's so much within SKR, Soldier Kingdom Rise. It's just, it's mind-blowing. And
I think I described it as a universe the other day.
as a universe, you know what I'm saying? There's so much. I mean, the story just goes on and on. I'm getting ready now to start writing I Seen His Story, which, you know, everyone think that it should be a trilogy of books that I write. So
it's going to be more than a trilogy.
It is.
I mean, a trilogy is limiting, okay? I mean, you know.
Yes.
Because, and here's the thing, there's a historical context, but then you're building this verse with which it can function. So you're building outside of the current limits, the current constraints.
Yeah,
that's right.
And
so that enables the story to really have the rebirth and go forward or forge forward into the future.
Definitely. And, you know, it's funny, I didn't plan to start the project with Rebirth. It all just happened. You know, God is great. God is great. And you know, yes, our ancestors still, they still hang around. They're still here telling us, whispering in our ears, telling us what to do. I do believe that. I do believe that strongly. So yes, Dr. Laura, it's been an honor, and we will have a conversation off here at some space.
Well, Winston, the pleasure is all mine. Again, it's to even consider doing a project of this nature. I mean, and the thing that's really comfortable is that, you know, all of us on this platform right now, we've all written, we've all published. We're, you know, I'm a publisher. We know the business already. So now let's get to creating. Let's get to creating something that has some punch, some relevance, some some proper jerk seasoning. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
Economic value.
Even though I'm gonna disappoint you there in a little bit, because 2093, you know, they stopped jerking in Kingston. You only can get it in the countryside.
Oh, good.
Oh, Yeah, Kingston
No,
is,
no,
is
no. Okay, no, no. This is extra.
Okay.
See, now, no, this is
You're
important. Let me tell you why
revealing.
this is important, Rudy, because I went to Trelawney the other day, right? And I
Yeah.
was so disappointed that I saw these mangoes from another nation, from another place there during East Mango season. I'm like, no, we had to do what? Go to the countryside
good.
to get the mango.
Yeah, and we talk about community economic tourism.
Yeah,
See,
yeah.
I would get a token. Look, I would get a token in 2093 to get a proper mango from the countryside instead of getting mangoes from Miami.
Exactly. Exactly.
Rudy, Rudy, you know,
Okay, I'm sorry. I'm going there. I'm sorry.
I really should have, I really should have gone out with, you know, if it's even half of the chapter of Rebirth. I should have read that within this program.
There's always part 2.
Yeah,
No,
there's always part 2.
At least part 2.
Part 3,
at least
part
part
4,
2.
part
Yeah.
5, part 6.
N.
Hey, listen,
Yeah. But
there's no limits.
But Doctor, I'll get the book sent to you anyway.
Yeah, yeah. And then I
I
think
was
what
gonna,
we'll do.
gonna just find it and buy it anyways. I wasn't waiting on you. I was just gonna.
It's out on Amazon.
Yeah.
You can get it on Amazon. But I think what we'll do, which I think will work great, when Dr. Laura's got the book, we will do something on Rebirth.
Okay.
Because I've read it the other day, and there's lots of questions in there. It's just that we haven't had time to speak.
Okay.
It's quite.
Again, congratulations. I mean,
I think it's
you know,
18 rating. Actually, I think. Rebirth.
Well, it's a 18 rate. You know, a white lady said it to me the other day. She said to me, "Oh God, I love your book, but it's but I got a lot of violence in it." And I said, "Well, you know, if slaves are fighting for their freedom, you're gonna have violence."
Yeah.
And you know, that is what I couldn't get away from. I couldn't get away from that. Because she's fighting. She's in a battle of her life.
Of course.
And well, probably my descript.
Yeah, we'll make sure it will be available for 12 plus.
Oh yeah, I mean we can tone it down anytime.
Of course.
We can tone it down anytime,
Yeah.
but I've got to be real.
Yeah.
If I'm writing a story, I've got to be real. And that's real for me, you know. Gosh, I've seen it. It's real. But yeah, great,
So
fantastic.
I'd just like to end with reminding everybody today is World Intellectual Property Day, and this dialogue has been with Dr. Laura Thompson and Winston Hislop from Aqua Blu Games, Soldier Kingdom, and Rebirth books, film, game, theme park. And the title of this dialogue is Soldier Kingdom Rise Jamaica and the Metaverse. Yeah. And the link with Lighthouse Broadcasting, MCW Channel, Fresh FM Radio London, Aqua Blu Games, and Soldier Kingdom Rise. It's all about collaboration. And we believe through collaboration, we will provide access, promote cultural and commercial opportunities within a very competitive marketplace in which we live, work, and want to enjoy ourselves, enjoy life. But we've got to collaborate.
We've got to collaborate. Yeah, definitely.
With those relationships.
Oh, definitely. It's the only way we can, get pushed down that wall that's standing in front of us. If we don't collaborate, as they said, divide and rule. So if we're divided, there's no way we're gonna get there. So I'm a collaborator. I'm a team player. So let's do it. We are the right people. We've got the right mentality. Hey, what's wrong in us doing it? What's wrong in us be the first Black companies to create a AAA game. That's my aim.
And
that's my aim.
You know what they say? To will the end is to will the means.
It's exactly.
And that's what we're doing. We're willing the means.
Yeah, definitely. Okay. All right, guys.
All right. Thank you.
It's beautiful, and thanks to all the people out there who are listening to us this evening, this afternoon, this evening, and look out for Soldier Kingdom Rise.
Do you just want to confirm where people can get Rebirth, the book, as it is out?
Well, you can get Rebirth on Amazon.
Amazon, okay.
Yeah, Rebirth, a Maroon Warrior, Winston Hislop. And you also can check out the website, which is Aqua Blu Games at what's the web?
co.uk?
Yes, that's right.
aquablugames.co.uk. But if you just Google Aqua Blu Games, it'll come up anyway.
It will just come up. Yeah.
Thank you. Good night.
All right, guys. You guys take care. Doctor, I'll speak to you soon. Yeah.